Freedom fighters, I'm coming back at you with another end of the week weekly wrap up here on Friday morning. I'm coming at you really early today. So if I end up missing some big breaking story and you're like, hey, why isn't Freedom Fighter reporting on the World War III breaking out and the fighter jets and the nuke going off and all that? Well, it's because this video is being recorded very early in the morning before all that took place. Because I'm going out to have a root canal. So I'm sure that's going to be fun. So I'm coming at you here early in the morning trying to get this over with because I probably ain't going to be feeling too great for the next few days. And, the Monday report might not happen. Who knows? We'll see how I end up feeling. But, what went down this week, what's on the docket for today's news. I was going to cover the whole JFK files being released, which almost looks like another nothing burger. And, we're never going to get the full information. There was some, good stuff in there. And, honestly, I'm going to say I didn't even, go through and read a bunch of it. I've gotten, highlights and what, some main people were posting. I did see that, the only thing that the DOJ requested be redacted was Israeli connections. So, that says a lot right there. They wanted, the Israeli connections redacted. They wanted no mention of Israel or any of that. So, that kind of lets you know all you need to know. But then, I heard a lot of people still asking, the mainstream, conservatard influencers, the same old, the same people that were dancing around with the Epstein binders. You got Cat Turd and, DC Drano and all these people. Basically, the conservative gatekeepers. They were even saying, so who killed JFK? And again, you'll never get the real answers. And before this was all released, I saw an interview with Glenn Beck and Kash Patel. And he was like, we're still going to have to redact some of this, where Trump said don't redact any of it. But at the end of the day, man, even the files that they release, you just know that there's other files somewhere. Or there are, real files. And, as far as the Epstein stuff goes, you remember when they raided the island and they pulled out all those tapes and, all this stuff and information, and then they're like, oh yeah, we're releasing the files, and it's no mention of that. Where are the videos? Where are the, the die-hard proof? And then you remember there's reports that the FBI and all these agencies were telling their the constituents there, shred the documents, burn the documents, get rid of it all. So again, if there ever is anything damning, the real files, you're not going to get it. We're never going to see that. And, I was watching this one guy's post where, he posted the F around and find out. FAFO. You've probably heard that saying before. And he was like, yeah, JFK files released and, all this. And he hyped it all up. And, that whole meme is, so dried out by now. It really is just beyond cringe. Fuck around and find out. I try my best to keep this channel family friendly, and I really don't, drop any of the F's and stuff, but, really, I don't even know why. I self-censor myself all the time, and I try not to say certain words, because I'm trying to remain, family friendly and mainly YouTube friendly, yet they don't show no love. I'm still, shadow banned into oblivion. They censor my videos, hinder my reach, all this stuff. So, it really, I might as well just let it fucking rip, right? say what I want, say the cuss word, say whatever, but fuck around and find out. They've already done that. Have you looked in your children's schools? They've already fucked around. Have you looked at in your workplace? They've already fucked around. Yeah, have you taken a look at your coworkers? They've already fucked around. Have you looked at all the unconstitutional laws that they've passed and we allow to go through day by day? They've already fucked around. When is this finding out gonna happen? Well, when is the part where they find out? That's what I'm waiting for. And I was watching this AJ video as well, where he was like, Trump has the globalists backed into a corner, and they're shaking in their boots, and we're just waiting for them to make the final move, and it's gonna be checkmate. And I'm like, dude, they've already made their move. They've been made their move. They made their move 80 years ago, right? Like they've already made the moves. They made the moves hundreds of years ago to put this all in place where we're at today. They made the move. And it pretty much is checkmate. I mean, it's gonna take a freaking Hail Mary and a miracle. And I did that video before. I think I said that. It was like the Hail Mary and the 2-minute warning. Like, hey, we better say our prayers, man. And just pray to God that this thing turns out and we somehow make it out of this. But, it's rough, man. And they made the move. They effed around. When are they going to find out? And what's it going to take, for people to, finally, I don't know what the word I'm looking for is, just like wake up and realize what it's going to take. I'm seeing again mainstream conservatives calling out, all this Pam Bondi stuff and Kash Patel. And here we go, talking about like we got the dream team, right? Based Kash Patel is now leader in the FBI with Dan Bongino as his right hand man, and Pam Bondi at AG, and Tulsi Gabbard in at the State Department, Pete Hegseth and at the Pentagon. And this is supposedly like the dream team, right? And I bet you when this thing is all over, everyone's going to be looking at it like Jeff Sessions and Bill Barr and, all these other clowns that did nothing. And it's going to be another 4 years of nothing happening and no finding out, right? There'll be a lot of effing around, but there'll be no finding out. And I did another video one time when Trump was going to get sentenced. I think that video got taken down, talking about not self-censoring and just letting it out the way I feel it. I said what I wanted to say on that video, and that one got taken down. But, I was like, maybe we want Trump to get arrested. And he ended up getting arrested, but I meant like sentenced, and well, he got sentenced too, but I meant like thrown in prison for what would have seemingly been a life term. They were talking at first like, I can't even remember what it was now, 15, 20 years or something, 30 something felonies. And, at his age, that pretty much would have been a life sentence. And I'm like, well, I want to see if we as a populace are going to allow that. And I was just talking in my last video about Popcorn Sutton and how we've let that injustice happen. And how we let a tyrannical rogue agency that shouldn't even exist come down on an elderly mountain man just, making his his liquor and doing his thing in the mountains. And that's who they have to mess with and drive him to self-deletion. And we've allowed it to happen. And I talked there about Tickle, one of his castmates on the channel, or not the channel, the show Moonshiners. And, I was saying, like, we don't stand by our principles. And you can't tell me that we do, because if we did, we would not allow people to be arrested for their human rights and their God-given inalienable rights. We wouldn't allow that. I talked a lot about Dexter Taylor, and what are we doing about it, right? They fucked around. We never made them find out, right? They took Dexter Taylor, exercising his, God-given inalienable rights to put together whatever sort of tool he wants to at his home. And they were like, nope, you don't have that. The judge said, don't talk about that in this. Don't talk about the Second Amendment in this courtroom. This is New York. You don't have any Second Amendment rights. There's no freedom here. But meanwhile, we'll let the illegals pour in and give them hotels and load them up with debit cards and free cell phones. But don't you dare try to protect yourself and your family. Don't you dare go off on your own and try to build some sort of weapon that could possibly used against us to defend against us while we let tyranny reign. And what are we doing about it? Nothing. Are they finding out? Nope. You know who's finding out? Dexter Taylor's finding out. Because we are cowards. And we allow it to happen. Back in the day, there's plenty of cases. I can't remember if that was Jesse James or one of these old Western guys. Maybe it was like Billy the Kid or one of these guys. But I remember there was a prison breakout story about that. And I mean, heck, that happens a lot, in foreign countries where, maybe the guy is even a bad guy or something. They're like, yeah, we know so-and-so's a drug dealer, but, it's kind of Robin Hood situation where, he was robbing to the poor, or he was selling over here, but he was helping the community or whatnot. And the community supports him, and we're not going to allow you to throw this man in prison. And, now we look at it and we see people get, thrown away for things that are, God-given constitutional rights that you cannot infringe on. And we just sit there and let them rot in a jail cell. Because, again, we're cowards. We're not doing anything about it. Well, freedom, why don't you go do something about it? I mentioned before, one man can't stand alone. And I guess that's the same reason all you aren't doing something about it. And it goes back to a point I made before. We refuse to hang together, so we're all going to hang separately. And that's kind of the system we're going on. And these people, these badge tyrants and these robes and all these people in government, these entrenched, deep state, if you want to call it that, they're going to continue to act because they know no one's going to stop them. And there's no finding out. They haven't found out in a long time. So they're going to continue it. And we're going to be the ones who reap the benefits of the chaos and the disorder and the destruction and the loss of our freedoms and rights. So with that being said, man, let me know what you guys think about that today. I'm off to go have one hell of a day, man. Pray for me and hope that this whole thing goes well, man. I've been having some complications with this tooth and everything, so hopefully this goes good, man. Until the next one, you know what it is, man. We are on our own. Nobody's coming to save us. So get right with God, because only God can save you. Freedom Fighters out.